Hi, I'm Carly Verhoeven, and I'm at City Hall in Kitchener to speak with Mayor Berry Vrbanovic about the development of light rail transit that's happening around the city. We'll speak with him, but before we do, let's take a look at some of the recent road closures that are happening around the region. Conestoga at Northfield is open. Access to Coomph from Northfield will remain closed until late September. Traffic on Northfield is maintained, as is access to Coomph from Weber to Randall. The northbound on-ramp from Northfield to Highway 85 is open. The northbound and southbound off-ramps from Highway 85 to Northfield will remain closed until late 2016, as will the southbound on-ramp from Northfield to Highway 85. Weber and Dutton is open as underground utility work on Dutton near Ion's operations, maintenance, and storage facility continues. Lane closures will occur periodically on the railway crossings at Barringer, Columbia, and University to complete the installation of temporary and permanent railway signals. The Waterloo Park parking lot at Seagram is closed. The new parking lot on the north side of the railway track at Seagram is paved and open. Caroline and Erb is closed until late September. Two-way traffic is maintained on Caroline from Erb to Allen. King and Allen is closed until late September. Pedestrian access is still available. Uptown remains accessible using Caroline and Regina. As well, the pedestrian crossing on King is still maintained. King from William to Union, King and Allen, and King and Wellington will be closed until approximately late September. Two-way traffic is maintained from Louisa to Wellington. King from Union to Wellington will reopen to two-way traffic this week. King from Victoria to Moore is closed for construction of the King Street grade separation. Moore and King is closed until late October. Victoria from Duke to Joseph is closed until approximately late September. The detour is Weber to Water to Joseph. Duke and Francis by the Kaufman Lofts is now open, as well as King and Francis. Duke and Frederick is closed until approximately early November, while Frederick and King is closed until approximately early October. The detour is Cortland to Queen to Weber. Ottawa and Charles is open on a granular surface. Local access is maintained on Charles from Borden to Ottawa as LRT track is installed. Block line in Cortland remains closed. Two-way traffic is maintained on Cortland. The detour for Block Line is Manitou to Bleams to Homer Watson. Hayward at the railway tracks is closed until late 2016. Local traffic is maintained on Hayward up to the railway crossing. Wilson from Fairway to Kingsway is closed until approximately early September. Access to Fairview Park Mall and Shoppers Drug Mart will remain open from Fairway to Wilson during this time. Access to Wilson will be maintained via Weber to Franklin to Wilson. I also spoke with people around City Hall to see if they're excited for construction to finish up.
Actually, because I bike and walk a lot of places and sometimes take the bus, it actually hasn't affected me all that much, but I do know that people are quite stressed out about it. But I'm one of those annoying people that actually is quite okay with it, and I'll just be excited once it's done.
Well, I work just down the street, and Frederick, Market Square is blocked off, so it'll be nice when it's done. It'll be a relief, I guess, when construction's over. I mean, we can be able to drive downtown again and be able to get to work on time. So, it'll be good when everything's done. So.
I stopped by City Hall in Kitchener to speak with Mayor Berry Vrbanovic, who shares his enthusiasm for the Iron Construction project.
You know what, like any construction project, obviously there's been some challenges associated with it, but I often liken it when I'm talking to people to doing a home renovation of either a kitchen or a bathroom reno. You're really excited when you're envisioning it. You get to the construction phase and, probably a few days in, there's a few words that we don't want to talk about on TV that you might say, and then when you're done, you're really excited. We're in that construction phase. It is about 2.5 years, but the worst of it is going to be done by the end of this year with all of the underground work being completed. So certainly that's something that we're quite excited about.
Do you think it was a good strategy doing multiple areas at once?
You know what, this is the first time that the region has ever experienced a project of this scope and magnitude, and also one that's a private-public partnership. where really we've relied on them to determine how they want to do it. The advantages of that is that it's given us a fixed cost in terms of the construction of the project. The disadvantages is they do things maybe a little differently than we've been used to here from a construction perspective. So at times it hasn't made sense for residents in terms of why have they taken the approaches that they have. But it's really been a matter of resource deployment, whether it's equipment, whether it's their personnel, and so on. And that's probably been the most controversial part of the whole project. If you really look at leading cities, particularly those that are trying to use rapid transit, not just for moving people, but also as a way of growth management and seeing less greenfield development and more along the spine of the LRT, this is the kind of thing that needed to happen, because LRTs, because it involves a rail that's pretty permanent, does end up giving the investment community much more confidence. And so, if you're talking about building up along that LRT route, people are much quicker to do it where there's a rail as opposed to just a roadway that buses run on. We're seeing a whole difference in terms of how millennials look at things and the kind of accommodations that they want. They want to be able to walk to work, walk to the places where they dine and socialize in, and so on. And as our core became home to the tech sector and all of the startups and mid-sized companies and so on that are evolving from that tech sector, and as we welcomed the University of Waterloo and Laurier with their School of Pharmacy and Social Work campuses, we really needed to make sure that at least from a Kitchener perspective, the community was reflective of what the new generation was looking for, and what, quite frankly, even long-time Kitchener residents were looking for as well. This is going to be a monumental project that really is going to set this community up for decades to come. I know many other mid-sized communities like ours wish that they had the support of their provincial and federal governments on this kind of project. And I think other communities are going to look to us from a sustainability point of view and so on in terms of the kind of leadership we've shown.
Construction on light rail transit is expected to finish by the end of this year, with some of it to continue into next year. To stay up to date on the project and any closures, you can actually head to rideion.ca. For Rogers TV, I'm Carly Verhoeven.